Good evening. We're going to be calling the Town Council August 6, 2024 meeting to order. First, we have roll call.
Okay.
Clerk?
Counselor Bordelon?
Councilor Bordelon, you're on mute. She appears to be on Zoom, but she's on mute, and I haven't heard her yet.
Okay.
We can come back at the end.
Okay. Gajewski?
Present.
Jones?
Present.
McBride?
Present.
Merritt?
Here.
Parker? Here. Pacino?
Councilor Pacino said he will not be able to make this evening.
Okay. Rusk?
Here.
Bordelon?
Here.
And Mayor Franco?
I am here.
Okay.
Okay, now we have the salute to the flag. Okay, up next, we have recognition awards and memorials. I don't believe we have any this evening. Public hearings, we do not have any public hearings, correct? No? Okay. And then receipt of citizens' petitions, comments, and concerns. This is the portion of the council agenda where the council welcomes comments from the public. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or as directed by the mayor. And if possible, submit written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Town councilors will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation. All presentations shall be made from the lectern and should include the speaker's name and address for the record. I was given a note that we might have Jonathan Richards here this evening by Zoom. Is that?
He has sent a message to me that he would be here in person.
Okay. I don't see anybody here in person. Okay, then.
I don't have anyone online either.
Is there anybody else online?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, then we'll be moving on to the consent calendar. Counselor Parker, would you like to move that?
Make a motion to approve 2024-700, July 2nd, 2024 minutes, and 2024-112-7 special trust fund contributions for August. I so move.
Second. Jones.
Moved by Parker, seconded by Jones. Any comments? Or changes? All right, seeing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Counselor Bordelon, I did not see you come off of mute. Can you tell me what your vote is?
I said aye.
Thank you. That passes 8-0 to 0. Up next are communications and reports from the town councilors. Counselor Merritt, do you have anything to share this week?
I attended the public hearing on the repair to the street in Noank, and I'll leave comments on that up to Director Hanover. And I received a complaint from a citizen on Azalea Drive. A contractor has been dumping trash. Supposedly, it's his property, but they call it unsightly and excessive, and I'd like somebody to look at it.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right, thank you. Counselor Bordelon?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Counselor Rusk?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say that I attended the presentation by Attorney Kelly on sexual harassment training. I think everyone on the council did as well. I also attended City Day this last Saturday, and I received emails that all the councilors got, including one from RTM moderator Amboise today regarding unprofessional behavior of the council. That's it.
Thank you. Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I received all the same emails that all other councilors have received. All I'd like to do is just compliment the Parks and Rec Department for their concerts that they've been holding this summer on the Thursday nights at Esquire Point. They're well attended. They're a lot of fun. They do a great job of running them and organizing them, and just a shout out for a great summer benefit that we have in town, and I hope everybody who goes gets to enjoy them. So that's all.
Yeah. Counselor McBride?
Thank you. Attended the rules meeting July 29th. I attended the sexual harassment training along with the other counselors on July 30th. We're reviewing the STR decision that the Connecticut Supreme Court came down with regards to STRs. And I'm sure we'll get into that later. Also had some comments from a couple of residents regarding healthcare. I know we spoke about it during the budget. A few residents had spoken to me about potentially submitting a referral for the council to review healthcare in more detail. So when the budget comes up next year, we have a better understanding of it, because I know myself didn't understand the corridors and all the other things. So I may be submitting a referral to try to get us a little more, well, at least me, more familiar with the healthcare, so we can wrap our hands around it next year. And was happy to see the information from Town Manager Burt that the Board of Ed's budget situation is better than it once was. So that was good news. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Gajewski?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended City Day on this Saturday. It was a wonderful evening, seeing members of our community out there. Thank you to all the amazing city workers and volunteers that made it such a success. I also attended last week's sexual harassment training for all elected officials and appointed officials in the town of Groton. And a couple Fridays ago, I served food with the United Way with Councilor Jones. And Parker.
And
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Counselor Parker?
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you guys hear me? Okay, received same communications. Yes, we had the Rules Committee meeting on July 29th. That's up for discussion this evening. Attended the July 30th sexual harassment training that we all had to take. And I attended the TVCCA meeting this evening, hence why I was a little bit late. And that's all. Oh, and I want to say congratulations to David Rose for receiving the Jacqueline Nixon Community Service Award. He does a lot in this community, so congratulations, Mr. Rose.
Thank you. I don't have much to report. I also attended the sexual harassment training and would like to also thank and congratulate Mr. Rose on all that he's done for our community. Moving on, Clerk of the Council.
Okay, thank you. The Republican State Senate primary is August 13. Early voting has already started. It started yesterday, and it will run through August 11 at the voter registration office. All the information is on the town website.
All right, thank you. Clerk of the Representative Town Meeting.
Okay. Their next meeting will be August 14 at 7 o'clock at 355. We expect to fill 2 vacancies that night for District 1 and 5, leaving 3 vacancies left for 1 for District 3 and 2 for District 4.
All right, thank you. Town Manager Burt?
Evening. First, Counselor Merritt, do you happen to have an address for Azalea Drive, the actual street address?
I do, I'd have to get it, I don't have it on hand.
If you could,
There's been a complaint about it before, but I'll have to get more information, I'll email it to you.
okay, but we'll definitely take a look at it. Of course, I was at the harassment training also, and we are doing a second round on August 20th. Hopefully catch more people who are unable to attend. Let's see, we have a new IT director, which I'm glad of. Her name is Liz Spellman, and she was an internal applicant, doing a great job. Mystic restrooms, we've added a third cleaning on the weekends during the summer because of the high usage of our restrooms on Water Street. We put phone numbers up if you see supplies are low, if you see there's a plumbing issue, there's numbers you can call to get help at any time for the restrooms. So we're trying to get that going a little better. We're gonna add 3 dog waste bag stations in downtown Mystic. There's been a lot of waste left out in front of shops, and so we're gonna try to make it easier for people to pick up after themselves. And then I was asked to give an update just on where we're at on various, not just us, but DOT also, on various bridge and culvert projects around the town. Mayor, did you want me to still give that information?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part?
You would ask me about giving a bridge update and culvert update for all the things in the works around town. Did you still want that at this time, or?
I would like that, yes.
Okay. Groton Long Point Road over Palmer Cove. DOT is completing bridge structure design study. The public information meeting is going to be scheduled for December of this year. Estimated cost $13.8 million, which is 100% paid by the federal funds. Construction anticipated 27 to 28. Groton Long Point Road over Amtrak, DOT project. DOT proceeded with the full bridge replacement option for the design, which was the longer span and increased rail clearance. Public information meeting was held on May 13th. Estimated cost $13.6 million. If you recall, they were asking for a 15%, requiring 15% match by the town. We're waiting for them to get back with us. They were going to see if there's any flexibility in that. Anticipated construction also 27 and 28. Those 2 projects for Groton Long Point Road will be coordinated together. Quaker Farm Road over Haley's Brook. That is a town project. All required environmental permits have been received. Currently obtaining necessary easements from abutting property owners. Consultant is finalizing the bid documents. We hope to bid this fall and start construction next spring in 25. Estimated cost
What was the name of that project? I didn't hear it.
Quaker Farm Road over Haley's Brook. Estimated cost $1.8 million, which is 50% state funding and 50% through the local bridge program. 50% state funding, 50% ours. Meridian Street over Amtrak, also a town project. At the bridge joint replacement project, about $100,000 project. It's put out to bid in June with no bidders, so we are going to re-advertise for bids in August. Thomas Road culvert over Bridge Plain Creek, also a town project. Design is nearing completion. Consultant submitted for environmental permits. Anticipated requests construction funds for FY 26, so next year. North Stonington Road Bridge, which over Whitford Brook, out of service since 13. Fire main crossing was installed in 22. Estimated cost $2.2 million. Those funds are about to go away for the 50% fund from the state. There's no more extensions allowed on those funds. We could have reapplied in the future if necessary, though. Route 215 culvert at Anderson March and BB Cove at the DOT project. DOT is currently advertising the project for bidding. Anticipated construction winter of 24 to spring of 25. And then finally, downtown Mystic River Drawbridge DOT project. It addresses structural deficiencies, upgrade mechanical and electrical systems, improves bicycle passage, and rehabilitates the marine fender system. Public information meeting was held July 29th. Anticipated construction to start in the spring of 26 and estimated cost $3.7 million. And I will send this information out to all the counselors, and I'll send it to the clerk so it can be posted on the website with the calendar and agenda. That's all I have.
All right. Well, that's a lot of projects.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Does anybody have any questions for the town manager? Councilor
See
Bordelon?
Council Borderline.
Councilor Bordelon?
Thank you. I just wanted to check to see if there's been any updates on getting an AED machine downtown.
I believe it was installed quite some time ago at our right by the restrooms out in front of that building, but I'll double check, but I'm almost 100% sure it was previously.
Perfect. I just was looking at some of my notes as one of the things I didn't follow up. I'm down there often, but I don't think I looked for it myself either.
Yeah. And then I know we were adding a sign to kind of point it out to make it more apparent to people. We did that a little later on, but I'm confident. We received it. We do have to have some extra work done on programming with it, but I believe it's all set up now.
Perfect. Thank you. That's a great asset to the community. My other question is, one of the things in all my travels I'm seeing is more bottle-filled water stations. Are we looking to add any more, or, things like that?
We added not long ago some throughout our buildings, but we also recently added one outside of the restrooms on Water Street, so people can fill up there. That is something we would like to expand where we have opportunity. I think they're very much appreciated.
Yep. Thanks for that. That's all I have.
Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This isn't so much as a question, it's just, I noticed that the big belly solar trash compactor is now installed at Pequannock Bridge Park, and along with a couple bicycle racks. So thanks you two, I guess, not sure who installs those, but.
Thanks to the council for
Yeah.
allowing funding.
So it's great, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. I have a few questions. Is there any update on the Nautilus dock?
Yeah, I myself, I met at the Subforce Space Museum on Thursday with various Navy personnel, as well as the contractors, Atlantic Marine. We're hoping for a completion date at June 30th. That's the hope. It should at least be done close to that. So it seems to be picking up momentum and moving along at this point.
Okay. And then to confirm, is National Night Out, which is being rained out this evening, is that canceled or postponed?
Canceled.
Thank you. And then can you give us, the council, a brief explanation on what Groton Housing Authority versus the town council's role when it comes to some of the, we've been receiving emails recently about some issues that are going on. And can you give us an update, basically telling the council what their role is?
We had asked the attorney, I believe we had an attorney actually come to one meeting, but it was a few years ago, so some counselors would be new since then. We've wondered the same thing in the past. Beyond actually appointing housing authority board members, there is no responsibility from the council. We don't have any say over anything. They're completely separate from the town otherwise.
Thank you. And I did see a post regarding Branford Manor. Is there any kind of update on anything going on with that, or have we completed?
Nothing from our end. Yeah, everything was completed. There's no, I don't believe the city has anything remaining either.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to committee reports. Committee of the Whole, Mayor Franco, I have to reappoint some people and appoint some people to beauty. Did you have, I'm sorry, comments for them?
No.
I'm sorry. So I have some comments about the beautification committee. And I would like to thank Cindy Fortner, who has decided to step down. She was the chair of the beautification committee and move on to other things. So I would like to thank her for all she's done. She has done some, led the team and did some awesome projects here in Groton. And I'd really like to thank her. And I would be reappointing Leanne Aubry and Bruce McDermott. And I have 3 new appointments: James Salmons, Ilona House, Marianne Martinez, and I will appoint 1 alternate, which is Ann Wimsley. And they are still looking for 1 more alternate and volunteers. So I thank you all for helping make Groton beautiful, and it's much appreciated. The Martin Luther King dinner is scheduled for Tuesday, October 22nd. I know many counselors attend this event, and we have a cow scheduled for that night. And as a body, I would like to ask what the consensus is, if we would like to postpone to October 29th, cancel the meeting, or keep that meeting, and let's see what the counselors would like to do. So let's start with Counselor Merritt. What would you like to do?
I would be in favor with the rest of the councilors as to what they have in mind.
Okay. Counselor Bordelon,
I'm fine with postponing.
postpone. Counselor Rusk.
Postpone, please.
Counselor Jones.
Postponing's fine.
Counselor McBride.
Postponing.
Counselor Gieske.
Postponing.
Counselor Parker.
Postpone.
Okay, I think we're going to postpone that night to the October 29th. As was noted earlier, we had an update on the Board of Ed 2024 budget. It now looks that they're closer to about approximately 240,000, down from the over 800,000. And the council will be receiving a briefing from our attorneys regarding questions submitted with the attorney's opinion at an upcoming meeting, so we may figure out a path forward. The council was invited to the August 25th picnic at Groton Bible Chapel from 11 to 2 p.m. Just a note that paving will begin on August 26th on Wayne Road, Bradford Circle, Hillcrest Drive, Woodland Drive, East and West, Valley Road, Tromburge Road, and Azalea Drive. And Mr. Burt has emailed us, the town council, offering to do tours of some of our defunct school properties. And if there's any counselors that are interested in attending, they should let Mr. Burt know. And they could reply to his last email on the topic that was sent on August 1st. All right, that's what I have for that. Personnel and appointments, Chair Jones.
No meeting, no report.
Thank you. Rules, Chair Parker.
We had our meeting on July 29th, and this is an item for discussion this evening.
All right. Public Safety, Chair Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We met on July 16th to discuss three things. The first thing was climate change emergency signage. There has been some work done by Sneakers, and South Road signage and other flooding area signage was reviewed, as well as ways to educate the public. This will all be completed by town staff and no council action is needed. We also discussed ATV confiscation ordinance. Attorney Cody provided a sample ordinance for review. We recommended that the ATV confiscation ordinance go to the town council pending approval from the state attorney. And then the last thing we talked about was road signage visibility, which was actually crosswalk visibility. And we discussed a number of different spots that were concerning, but in the end, we talked about three major spaces, and that was corners, or the Route 1 and Virginis, Route 1 and High Street, and Route 1 and Bank Street. At $45,000 each, we said we would recommend starting with Virginis. It's Court, correct, I believe? And that will come for the town council. And that is it. Oh, and we will be scheduling a meeting to discuss an ambulance funding plan soon.
Thank you. Okay, on to I'm sorry, Counselor Bordelon, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a question just for clarifying my notes, what was presented from the safety committee. What was the proposed thing to do to the crosswalks? I just want to make sure I heard it correctly.
Sure, so it was flashing signs at those three spaces. The concern is that those are areas that are high traffic for pedestrians and very low visibility. So the recommendation was to start at Route 1 and Virginis Court at $45,000 a piece. We recommended doing one because there was funding available for one, and then continue on with the other two as agreed upon by the council.
Okay, because I know there was something I had brought up a while back. Is the crosswalks in downtown Mystic part of that plan?
So 2 of them are in downtown Mystic. We discussed speed humps, we discussed flashing signs. The problem is that area is, obviously all of Route 1 is owned by the state, and there is a concern over whether or not those would be, any of those options would be something that the state would agree to. John, I don't know if you want to touch on that any further.
I
Yeah,
think
you
this
know-
is supposed to be an update from the chairs of these committees, and we can't go into specifics in depth, because you will be bringing these to the council, is that correct?
That is correct.
Mayor, I will send some information out tomorrow, just so people have some general information.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to new business. 2024-722, Town Council 34th Rules and Procedures Update. This is on page 4, starts on page 14 and goes to page 16.
15.
15.
Oh,
15.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, page 15. All right. It needs to be read.
Yes, it does. I am going to read the resolution.
Counselor Parker, would you like to take this
Yes.
as the chair? Thank you.
Resolution amending rules for the 34th Town Council. Whereas at the Town Council meeting on February 6, 2024, the Town Council adopted the 34th Town Council rules and procedures, and whereas at their July 29, 2024 meeting, the Town Council Rules and Procedures Committee recommended changes to the Town Council rules and procedures. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council amends the rules of the procedure of the 34th Council with the following changes to be effective immediately. Rule 2, Meeting of the Council D. Add, in order to help ensure confidentiality, portable electronics will be turned off and placed at a location chosen by the mayor for the duration of the executive session. A phone number will be provided to address emergency situations. The mayor will determine the location of executive sessions. Councilors will sit as a group at a location designated by the mayor. Attendees will not divulge information discussed in executive session without prior approval of the town council by vote. Failure to comply with any of these rules shall result in immediate expulsion from the current executive session and may lead to inability to participate in future executive sessions. Number 2, Rule 8, Rules of Order. B, Points of Order / Appeal. I think that's 1. Add the following. After the first decorum recess, if the mayor finds a counselor out of order, the council will immediately suspend their remarks. The mayor will re-recognize them to give them the opportunity to come back into order. If they fail to do so, the counselor out of order yields their turn and remaining time. Number 3, Rule 8, Rules of Order D, Debate decorum in debates, limits of debate. Change the rule to read, no counselor shall speak unless recognized by the mayor, and this will include side comments unless they have the floor. Number 4, Rules 14, Conduct by town councilors. We're adding, councilors shall conduct themselves in a professional manner when they are acting in their office. Councilors shall follow all aspects of the town ethics ordinance, and councilors will respect all rules of the town council. Number 5, add Rule 15, disciplinary measures of the town councilors. After the third decorum recess, the following can happen. Any member can make a motion for a public apology of the counselor violating the rules with a 2/3 vote. Any member can make a motion to strike from the record the counselor's out-of-order comments with a 2/3 vote. The council and/or the mayor, upon further review, can make changes to the committee assignments while following and adhering to all of the rules, regulations, and the town charter that guide each committee. I'm reading the staff note, is that correct, Mr. Burt? If I, through the mayor, sorry, I apologize for that.
I had included those based on having been at the rules meeting, but then subsequently I sent out some potential changes from the attorney, so whatever the wishes of the council.
I believe the attorney had sent this additional sheet that was emailed out today, and it was also left at all of our seats, and I think this is potentially wording for a change on section 5, if I believe correct? Or
Is
the
that- Yes,
5
no,
on
it's,
our
well,
packet.
the one I just read, I believe.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Rule 15, so disciplinary, would you like me to read what the attorney wrote?
Sure.
Okay. So, as this is presented, this was at our meeting and the rules, and we did ask for opinion to make sure we were doing it correctly. So, attorney reviewed the draft rule changes, and they have recommended in writing the following. After the third decorum recess, any member can make a motion to require an immediate apology, public apology by the council violating the rules, which to pass must garner a two-thirds vote of the members of the council present. If after a vote to require an apology, the member refuses to apologize or having apologized commits a subsequent violation in the meeting, 1, any member can make a motion to strike from the record the councilor's out-of-order comments, which to pass must garner a two-thirds vote of the members of the council present. 2, following the disciplinary measure of striking from the record the councilor's out-of-order comments, if there is a subsequent violation in the meeting, the councilor and/or the mayor, upon further review, can make changes to committee assignments while following and adhering to all of the rules, regulations, and the town charter that guide each committee. Number 3, following the taking of the disciplinary measures above, if there's a subsequent violation in the meeting, the council may discuss and issue at the meeting or at the next regular meeting by a two-thirds vote of the members of the council present, one or more of the following. And censure, directive to leave the room for the remainder of the meeting, and C, any other penalty deemed appropriate by the town council. And I so move. I think I would like to, actually, let me rephrase that. I'm going to withdraw my motion. I believe we should be using the verbiage from the attorney regarding adding disciplinary measures of the town councils.
So item number 5 on our packet would be replaced by the attorney's suggested language.
Correct.
Second.
All right, I'm making a note. That was moved by Parker. Seconded by Gajewski. Do we have any comments? Counselor Gajewski.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make an amendment to the amendment. It says after the third decorum recess. I would like to change it to after the second. I would like to change it to after the second decorum recess. I think after one time should be enough, and after 2 times, I think, would be sufficient enough, and it enforces that we do not adhere to this behavior as a council, so that is why I'm proposing that amendment.
Okay.
Second, Jones?
Amended by Gajewski. Seconded by Jones. Do we have any comments? Counselor, well, I was just going to ask on you, Counselor Parker, as the chair, do you have something you would like to share with that?
Yes, as we're currently doing 3 times currently during the meeting, we were trying to be consistent with what we were doing, and that I feel is sufficient to follow the same rules that you established previously.
Okay. Counselor Jones, McBride.
I agree with Counselor Parker, but also the three that when discussed was, it could be 2 or 3 different individuals that could need a point of order, so therefore it was allowing some flexibility for, a few people to be out of order. This, 2 would be less flexible, in my opinion, so I kind of agree with Counselor Parker.
Can I just ask, are you stating like if Counselor A was out of order and then Counselor B was out of order, you think that would be considered twice?
Yes. That's kind of how we discussed it.
I think if there, in my interpretation, it would be, it's per counselor, not per meeting. It's,
If that's the case.
if Counselor A was out of order 2 times, called out of order 3 times, and a recess was taken, and then called out of order 3 times, and a recess was taken, that would be 2 times on that counselor. And then, or we would have to go another third, out of order 3 times, and a third recess for that specific counselor. And then it would come into an apology. Because if Counselor A did something and then Counselor B, you can't ask Counselor B to apologize because of something Counselor A did. And considering it the second one.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood. Should this then say after the third, or the second, decorum recess for a particular individual? Or, is that the intent?
It says by the counselor violating.
And Mayor,
Mr. Burt?
when the attorney reviewed, they understood it would be focused on one person for these steps. So they took that into consideration, so it could be written efficiently.
Okay, thanks.
Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a question on of the new rules, on the new section, number 3, where it says, at the meeting or at the next regular meeting, does a council and/or cow count as a regular meeting? Is it either meeting? What is a regular meeting?
Oh, you're on this one.
Yeah, on the new stuff, on the stuff that came from the attorneys. It says at the meeting or at the next regular meeting. Is a regular meeting,
It would be the next meeting,
so the next council meeting? Or,
at next meeting. I'm sorry, I should ask.
Well, if anybody has any, the way I interpret it, if it was at a cow, it would be at the next cow meeting. If it was a town council meeting, it would be at the next town council meeting. Is that correct? Because that's typically the town council
I do
meeting.
believe that's the intent.
That is what I thought,
So it could-
typically how it works.
so it could be a month. It could be a month.
It could be a month later, because
Okay.
if it's a town council, it has to happen at the next town council. Because
Okay.
we only have one
That's what
town
I'm just-
council a month.
So that's what it means. Okay. I just didn't know what it
Because
was
if you wanted to
referring to.
reconsider, it has to be the next meeting, and a town council is the same. You could reconsider at the next town council, but you couldn't reconsider at a cow
At a cow.
if
Okay.
something happened at the town council.
But for all of this disciplinary stuff, we could do a cow to cow or council to council.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
That's how I interpret it,
Okay, no, that's, just wanted to be clear.
from knowing the rules.
That's my question.
Are we commenting on anything now?
Anything that we,
Okay.
the motion on the floor. Councilor McBride?
I think I'm in favor of maintaining 3, because I think some of our council's meetings go for 4 or 5 hours, and I could see myself being point of ordered a couple times if I got out of hand. So I think 3 is more reasonable than 2. We're all professionals. And I'd just like to say, I think it's kind of unfortunate we have to go this far, because if you go through Chapter 20 in Robert's Rules, all of this information is embedded into Robert's Rules. So I kind of feel like it's, all of this isn't necessary, but I can understand why some counselors want to do this. The one point I have that I'm not in agreement is 3A in censure. And the reason for that is I've read through Robert's Rules, I've done my research. My understanding, and I'm not a Robert's Rules expert, is that a censure requires much more investigation, much more review, much more process involved, following. It's not even detailed in Robert's rules, and I think of that more as I don't want to say police investigation, but it's more detailed, there's more process involved with that we don't have rules for. So I don't think 3A is proper. I think if an individual's like myself, let's say if I'm point of order and not behaving and you want to send me out of the room, that's the council's prerogative, and then that makes sense to me. But to censure, I don't think we have enough, at least I don't have enough understanding of what that entails, what the process is, and what does that mean. So I'm not in favor of censure, but I am in favor of moving forward with the other items, although I find it unfortunate that we need to do that because the bulk of it's all in Robert's rules. Thank you.
Mayor, can I address that?
Mr. Burt, yes, please.
Just a minute, yes, Robert's rules does have more detail and allude to a larger process. However, town council rules, if you adopt this, it'll be at the sole discretion of the council to vote on it. It's all up to the council if they want to do their own rules. It can be as short or long as a process as you wish. And then I was just going to point out, Councilor Rusk also has her hand up.
Thank you. I believe let me just respond to that. I think censure is, from what I gather, is the council stating that this is unacceptable behavior, and the council does not approve of the behavior. There is no penalty for like trying to take somebody off the council. It is basically the body saying your behavior is unacceptable to us in our meeting. Unless you have found something, because Robert's Rules does also have other bodies that are not exactly like our body. So you have to read into it as something that fits what our body is how I interpret it. Censure has been done on previous council members in this town. And not while I've been here, but it has been done, and it was the body, it's basically publicly stating the behavior is unacceptable to the body. Anything else, Councilman Bryan?
Thank you.
Councilor Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick clarifying question. When we were talking about the third decorum recess or the second decorum recess, are we talking per meeting or in general? So, meaning if Councilor A has 2 or 3 decorum recesses all in one meeting, or is it spread out over time? Thank you.
It is, for my interpretation, per meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. My first question is the way this is written, and it's really interpreted that it would be only one counselor, which is very vague. So that's my first question. How would that be handled? Because there has been other meetings, in my opinion, where more than one counselor was not showing decorum. So how would that address these issues?
It is usually when somebody is out of order and being called out of order 3 times, given the chance to come back into order, and we have to take a recess. That is, there are points of order made by counselors where you could be called out of, it might be agreed upon that they are out of order, but if it continues to the point where you're called out of order 3 times, we take a recess and have to do that process 2 or 3 times, depending on what's voted on this evening. That's how it's determined.
And who's allowed to take a decorum recess? Because in the past, other counselors have stated, let's take a recess, and they were told no. So who's determining that, it's open to interpretation if they feel the quorum's being broken. So who's determining that?
Madam Mayor, may I ask you?
Chair of the Rules, Parker, would you like to respond?
That would be the chair of the meeting, which would be ultimately the mayor.
Okay, my next question, again, this is not a direct, intent in any way, it's just verbiage. The way this is written, it's assuming that a mayor could never be out of order. That's not factual. How would that be handled?
Counselor Parker, did you want to respond?
Mayor?
Yes?
It does say and/or the council, mayor, the council can make that decision, and/or the mayor. If the mayor is out of order, the rest of the council will make that decision.
And then my other thing is I was looking at other governments and I submitted, I was looking around. It's open to interpretation. Just because one person feels decorum was broken and a vote of the peers on that body, we know there's fractured relationships, or there could be on different boards and commissions and councils. So it could be just, doesn't mean that person was out of order or there was decorum broken. It's in the eyes of the beholder. So it's really vague. So I just think it's kind of opening up Pandora's box here. So how is that going to be handled? Because there's many times where just because this council votes and says, yep, we agree, that could be agreement of a party of people that just choose to agree with that. It doesn't mean factually that anything was really violated. That's a consensus of these 6 or 5 individuals.
Well, this is Robert's rules. I mean, we're just pulling out exactly what's in Robert's rules and highlighting them into our own rules. This is something that's always been there.
Again, it's going to leave vague interpretation, so I'm not in support of that because I don't feel it would be distributed fairly, equally, and equitably. Also, the new section that the attorney sent out, I found it very shocking that the word requires in that first paragraph. You can't require anyone to apologize, especially if the person feels in good faith that they didn't do anything wrong. They're not going to apologize for something when they don't feel that they are wrong. So saying the word requires twice in that paragraph, I don't know if that is legally standing. So that's my next question.
Well, it states here, any member can make a motion to require an immediate apology. They can request it. It doesn't mean it has to be accepted.
So maybe the
But
word should be
a member
request?
can request it, yes, or require it. And it's usually, it will be voted on by the body.
So I guess my thoughts are possible amending would be that the motion to request, because it is a request, because you can't require. You can request an individual. Nobody on this board has any control over anybody. So it would be a request. That would be a thought. I also can agree with Councilor McBride under the censure part. I also have concerns with section C, any other penalty deemed appropriate to the council. So what would you could throw anything in there, tell someone to drink their coffee in the hallway. I'm being very funny here, but I mean, like what penalties would one endure? That seems very vague. So I have a question about that.
I would assume that, this is an assumption, that any penalty deemed appropriate by the town council would most likely come out of Robert's rules.
Right, I think that detail should be added. It shouldn't be vague. I mean, I think, I just don't agree with that, like just deemed appropriate. Well, we should have some things that we would agree upon that would be.
But also, I mean, your time is,
May I finish?
what's going on with the beeping?
Your time, that's how, it beeps every second you go over.
You're over your time, but I will say that
I can't see in good faith. I can't
This
see the
body
clock.
can-
That we zoom in a little bit?
I'm sorry, are you taking your second turn right now?
No, I'm not. I'm asking to see the clock so I can effectively adhere to the time.
I don't know how to do that.
Town manager did it in the past.
Town manager's
And
not
I'm
here.
sure our IT person can zoom in on the screen, which is what we did last time.
Okay, we can request
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
She can't zoom in, she said.
Okay, so okay, well, in good faith then online, can't see it really well. It's blurry for me. I tried to zoom in, it's all blurred. So I
Thank you.
can't see the time.
Thank you. IT has stated that they cannot zoom in on it. Are there any other questions or comments? Counselor Borderline.
Did you call on me? I just want to make sure.
Yes, Counsel Bordelon?
Okay. And I guess, again, it leaves a lot of open interpretation and a lot of personal opinion in here, or, unfortunately, there's a lot of personality conflicts. I mean.
Point of order?
We are.
Point of order.
Your
Point of order.
Counselor Parker,
It
your
has
point of order?
nothing to do with personal motivation, and I am appalled that it's being said that way. I
Thank you.
took everything out of Robert's rules. We took everything out of Robert's rules.
Thank you. That is correct.
So
Point well taken.
motive.
Point well
Decorum
taken.
and motive.
That's not what I stated. Again, what I'm stating is there could be personality conflicts where one person's interpretation is not really, taken the same way. It's open to a lot of interpretation. There's a lot of emotional feeling or discretion in using what they
That
feel is
also
out.
is taking people's motivations.
I'm saying that a person may speak a certain way. You might say one thing and I can take it out of order. You might not think you're out of order, or another person could say something and one person might take it out of order. It's not a personal motive. It's how we interpret it. It's how it's said. So I'm just curious of how that's going to be, and it leaves a lot of vague discretion, is what I'm saying. That's my question.
I don't understand what your question is.
The rulings aren't going to be, it's going to be hard to moderate, is what I'm saying.
Well,
Some people talk
well,
loud, some
the
people
council
find
will
it-
moderate it
May I
because,
finish? You're interrupting my time, see? So I consider that an interruption.
I'm sorry, you had asked me a question.
I was still talking. So my question is, again, I think this is leaving a lot of vague across the board. If you watch our meetings, in my opinion, it's hard to delineate from one to another. And the way these are written, it only states that one person could be out of order. And at times, when it escalates, there could be multiple people out of order, and that's not addressed in here at all. So I do think there's more work to be done with this, so I request that this actually goes back to the Rules Committee. And I think the attorney should be present if they're going to submit a comment on it. I think that they should be here to go over it with us, because I think that these are a lot of changes. So it's just making sure we're clearly defining the parameters. That's not an attack on anybody. Clearly defining parameters is across the board, and it's not cut and dry, and it's open to interpretation. Because again, one person might say one person's voice is loud and that's out of order. Well, one person might say, I'm used to loud voice, it's not a big deal. So it's really vague here. One person could be offended over something, another might not be at all. These rules, I do think that there needs to be a cleanup on some of the decorum and behaviors on the council. I can agree with that. But I do not think that this is identifying it in a manner in which is going to be fair and equitable across the board because of that, the parameters and interpretation. So those are my concerns. So I think it should, be, sent back, and I think the attorneys should be weighing in on this and answering questions that we have. That's my question through the mayor to the town manager. Can we have the attorneys present?
I'm not sure that the attorneys need to be present. This council makes rules for themselves. They have reviewed this, and in the, that the committee had came up with, they said while not finding anything wrong with the way the current recommendation is written, he did recommend the council review the following replacement language. That's all they stated. They have already reviewed this. They have found nothing wrong with it. I would also like to state that, that it is not just the mayor that makes the decisions. This has in here that it would be 2/3 vote of the members of the council present. Calling people out of order 3 times and taking a recess are not just based on because somebody says something others don't like to hear. It is based on Robert's rules. I will just bring up an example. If people are speaking when they do not have the floor and they have not been recognized and have no time left, being called out of order 3 times and taking a recess is an example of blatantly being out of order. That's not quite opinion, it is just how it works. These are Robert's rules, this is what we go by, and I will say I'm in favor of the 2 decorums recesses. Because what that is saying is, you are being told 3 times you're out of order before we take a recess. We come back. You have to be told you were out of order and given time to come back into order 3 more times, and then a recess. And then if we go to 3 decorum recesses, I mean, by that time, I mean, the meeting's not going well. And I would say, even after 2, because we have experienced this, this meeting is not going well after we've had two decorum recesses. And I've heard from many people about it's a lot, it's too much. So my opinion is, I think because if it's 2 recesses, that is given 6 chances to be called out of order. If we stay at the 3 decorum recesses, that is given 9 chances to be called out of order. I think that's an awful lot. And I think we're much better than that. So that's sort of where I stand on it. And I would be in favor of the amended motion. Counselor McBride?
Although I think 3 is the.
Oh, I'm sorry, McBride. Counselor McBride, you've already spoken twice.
Oh, I have.
We could ask for a 3rd round if anybody would like a 3rd round. Is there support for a 3rd round? Okay.
I support a 3rd round.
Okay.
Yeah, I would support a 3rd round too.
I'll do a 3rd round.
I would support a 3rd round.
I'm okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Counselor McBride.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting the 3rd round. As I was mentioning, I kind of thought 3 was proper, but I can see your argument on 2, just to try to keep things in hand. However, I still have an issue with the censure, and I agree with the comments being made that this information, the majority of it's all pulled from Robert's rules, especially the 2/3 majority, so you're doing things properly, no one has too much control. But if you look through all of the information in Robert's rules, on all of this information, censure is not even brought up in any of this discussion, because I think censure or expulsion is for when something drastically occurs, and I don't think decorum constitutes something where we would do a censure or expulsion. So I would like to make an amended motion.
Yeah, it's okay. We have the motion on the floor and an amended motion. You can make one more.
Okay. I'd like to make an amended motion to keep 3rd decorum, however, to remove A, because at the end of the day, C would,
You're explaining, need a second.
okay, sorry.
So state your motion.
Re-
Remove
Remove
3A.
3rd, keep 2, or I'm sorry, keep after the 2nd decorum recess, and remove 3A censure. That would be the motion.
I'll second that.
Can I ask you if you would rather define censure?
I think what I would rather do is, if it was removed, C would replace it. If the council wanted to censure, it would fall into C anyway. It would give the council the ability to review the matter in more detail and then censure or expulsion, whatever it may be, because censure, I think jumping to censure, in my opinion, is too drastic for, as ridiculous as I sometimes am with my decorums. You know, I don't think it should be in there, so I don't know if that, did I explain?
Okay, so your amended motion is to leave
Mayor?
leave second,
I'm third.
Mayor?
and on 3A, remove censure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor, I believe we have Is it not the attorney changes the First Amendment and then going from 3 to 2, the Second Amendment?
No, Counselor Parker read in the attorney's opinion.
Okay, so it wasn't an
In
amendment.
place of 5
Okay.
for the main motion. Counselor Rusk?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can definitely support Counselor, the most recent one, Counselor McBride's amendment. I do believe that it should be after the second decorum recess. By the time you hit the third decorum recess, like you said, it's kind of ridiculous at that point. And we definitely, I'm sorry, I'm flipping between screens here, but if you took out censure, it would definitely fall under C, any other penalty deemed appropriate by the town council. So I can agree with Councilor McBride's amendments.
Okay. Thank you. Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think I can do the same thing. I like the second decorum, and I agree with Councilor Rusk and Councilor McBride that censure can fall under any other penalty deemed appropriate by the town council, would include censure, so we could certainly put that in without any problem. So I think I can be okay with that, too.
Okay. Counselor Gieske?
I just want to state that I am in favor of all the amendments on the floor.
Counselor Rusk, did you have another comment?
No,
Thank you.
no, my apologies.
All right, Counselor Bordelon?
Yeah, again, I think it's open to interpretation. I think it needs to be fair across the board. There are times when people say comments and it's never point of ordered, or, they just simply say, no, it should be this, or they say a side comment and it's never escalates ever. Or they make a moan or a comment in unsupport or disappointment and it's never escalated or said decorum. So I just really think if we're going to follow this and follow it to its nth degree, it should be across the board. An interjection into a meeting, a side moan and such, or, speaking in to clarify why someone else is speaking, is still disruption to the meeting. So it needs to be held the same. It can't just be for this or that. So I just think that we open that door. But again, I'm not in support of these the way that they're written. I think it's too vague and open to interpretation. But I'm hoping that we're going to use these, that we are following it across the board. So the writing on the papers next to somebody, or all of the interruptions in between, and other people get the same, accommodations and graces, those should be the same as an interruption. So just checking on that. I'm a little concerned, and because we're currently not doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Gieske?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to, if you do have to interrupt a fellow counselor to ask a clarifying question, it is in Robert's rules. You can ask a clarifying question or request a point of information would be the proper way to do that. It's already in Robert's rules, so I don't see the concern behind it. So I just want to put that out there.
Thank you. Counselor Parker?
Thank you. And just want to remind everyone, once you put a motion on the floor, you have to wait until the motion is presented, then get your second, then you make your explanation. Hence for the interruption this evening with Councilor McBride. So I just want to make sure we're following Robert rules ourselves and trying to make sure we're doing everything properly. So if there's that type of interruption, it's only to make sure that we're following the proper Robert Rules procedure.
Right, thank you.
I'm all set.
All right, I don't see any more comments, so we will vote on 2024-722, Town Council 34th Rules and Procedures Update. That was moved by McBride and seconded by Bordelon. It is the amended motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? That passes 6-2 to 0. All right, up next is,
You gotta make it the main motion.
oh, that's right, thank you. And voting on that as a whole with the amended
Parliamentary
motion.
inquiry.
Excuse me?
I just want to make sure we're using the proper terms for the interruptions is all.
Parliamentary.
Inquiry.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I was saying parliamentary inquiry because, again, people are clarifying, and I think across the board, we should follow the rules and say the proper words to, interrupt into a conversation.
Are you doing a parliamentary inquiry on me?
Not on you, I'm asking that counselors are using proper parliamentary procedure when interrupting into someone speaking.
Well, a parliamentary inquiry is to ask if basically parliamentary rules are not being followed as the whole. Like, I'm not exactly sure. Are you trying to do a point of order?
So, for example, Counselor Parker just was speaking and you had to stop. I think if other counselors do that, they don't get the same grace, in my opinion. So it needs to be uniform. We need to use the words because we cannot delineate who's got that right and who doesn't. That's what I'm asking.
Thank you.
And just we use
I
it.
understand now. Thank you. Okay, so we will vote on 2024-722 with the amended motion as a whole. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? That passes 7-1 to 0. Now we're moving on to 2024-332-4, the blight ordinance revisions to set a public hearing date. That is in our packet on page 16. Counselor Gajewski, would you like to take that one?
Page 16. Yes. Council item 2024-508, alteration of scenic road 103 River Road. Resolution to approve alterations of a scenic road 1034 River Road. Be it resolved, the town council approves the alterations of scenic road Sandy Hollow Road as presented on July 2nd, 2024. So moved.
Second?
Moved by Gajewski, seconded by Parker. Do we have any comments? Okay, not seeing any comments. Let's take a vote on 2024-332-4, blight ordinance revisions, set a public hearing date. All those in favor?
Point of order.
Aye.
What is your point of order?
What are we voting on?
2024-332-4, the blight ordinance revisions to set a public hearing date.
What did Councilor
No, I
Gillespie
read.
just spoke about?
We're doing this one.
They didn't order.
Why is not,
We don't have that in here. Where's the vote?
Those are last week's notes, or last meeting's
You don't-
notes.
oh, it's they updated the agenda. I'm so sorry. We're doing I'm sorry, it's 2024-508-4, alteration of a scenic road. 1034 River Road, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
That is
but
what we're,
Yes,
point of information, it says on our agenda packet that after the rules, we should have done the blight ordinance public hearing, but that's not in our council packet.
yeah, that's what sort of threw me off as I was organizing some other things.
Yep.
Clerk?
I have it just the same way as you with the blight, and I don't take care of the town council agenda.
Okay, Mr. Burt?
It is looking like when it got put together, I think it was in the original one, it must have got deactivated when they printed the second one. But it's listed on there. If you want to use your earlier version, that's still okay. Want to move it forward?
I'm sorry, can you
It's just-
repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
It's listed on the agenda, so you can still move forward if you have the language that was in the original packet.
I don't have the language. Hold on, let me see, I may have the language. Hold on.
I also have a point of information.
I have the language from our 7/15/2024. Would that be the language from 7/15?
Say it again, please.
We have a, it was on our agenda on 7/15, late ordinance revision, 2024-332, to set a public hearing. And it states, we would set a public hearing in September 2024. Do you have a specific date?
Yes, it would be the next. 1 sec. It would be September 3rd.
3rd?
Yes.
Point of information.
Your point of information?
The packet has it on here on the agenda order. I just had a question that online, does it have the description and everything with the dates embedded into the package? Or is it just exactly the way we have ours in front of us, is my question.
I think the revised one is as it is.
So it's exactly what we have.
Right.
So we're just making a, let's see. So
Just
should we,
authorize
Madam Mayor,
public-
point of information.
just a moment, can you hold 1 second? We have the alteration of a scenic route on the floor at this moment. Should we continue with that and come back to the blight ordinance? Because it has been, the motion has been made and seconded.
No, we can't. We're in the middle of motion.
That's what I'm saying, we have to stick with the alteration of a scenic route at this time and go back to the blight
Could I
ordinance.
withdraw my motion and somebody withdraw their second?
We'll go backwards to it.
Are we all speaking freely? Are you looking for our opinion, or I just want to make sure I have the chance to speak?
Madam Mayor, I made a point of information.
Counselor Rusk,
We were in the middle of a vote when a point of order was called, so you had already called the vote, so I believe we need to finish the vote.
I agree.
For the
So we
scenic
need to-
road?
We need to continue with the alteration of a scenic road and vote on the alteration of a scenic road, which was read by Counselor Gieske. The motion was moved by Counselor Gieske and seconded by Parker.
Point of information.
Your point of information?
Do we have to, I just want to make sure we do everything right. Do we have to suspend the rules to go out of order?
We will suspend the rules to go back to blight ordinance. So
I thought we had a-
I'm calling,
My point of information was, I thought we had to suspend the rules to go out of order too. So do we have to?
well, we are in the middle of a vote right now, so I'm not changing anything at this time. We have 2024-508-4, alteration of a scenic road, 1034 River Road. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Counselor Bordelon, I didn't see your vote.
I said aye.
Thank you. 8-0.
Make a motion to suspend the rules to return back to agenda item 2024332.
Second?
Suspend the rules to go back to the blight ordinance made by Parker, seconded by Gieske. Let me just check real quick if it's 2/3 or if it is majority. Just one moment. It is 2/3 of a vote we need. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Passes 7-0 to 1. We will be going back to 2024-332-4, the blight ordinance revisions.
Point of
Set a
information.
public hearing date.
Or I could recommend a motion if you would like.
Point of information.
Your point of information.
I just want to make sure if it's not posted in detail in the packet, can we proceed even though it's listed? Just want to make sure we're following proper process because there's no write-up with language embedded in the packet online 24 hours prior to the meeting.
That's not required. You just have to look at the list and tell what the general topics are. You do more than what's required by FOIA. It is fine.
Thanks for the explanation.
I would recommend a simple resolve that the town council hereby sets a public hearing for the revision to the blight ordinance for September 3rd, 2024.
Would anybody like to move that
I
motion?
move that motion as read into the record by Mr. Burt.
Second, Jones?
Moved by Parker, seconded by Jones. Do we have any comments? All right, seeing no comments, we will be voting and setting the public hearing date for the revisions to the blight ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8-0 to 0. Now we'll be moving on to 2024-650-1, Department of Defense grant. That is on page 17. Counselor McBride, would you like to take that one?
Sure. Item 2024650, Department of Defense grant. I'd like to move a motion for a resolution endorsing staff participation in the grant application and authorizes the town manager to sign all grant agreements, MOUs, intergovernmental agreements with SCOG for the administration and implementation of the grant. Resolved, the town council endorses staff's participation in the grant application and authorizes the town manager to sign all grant agreements and necessary MOUs, intergovernmental agreements with SCOG for the administration and implementation of the grant in the anticipated amount of $350,000 and refer the matter to the RTM per Rule 6.5.3.
Second.
Moved by McBride, seconded by Gajewski. And as just about everything we pass here, it has already gone through the cow, and we've had discussions and voted to move these to the town council for finalization. Seeing no hands for comments, I will take a vote on 2024-650-1, Department of Defense grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Pass that 8-0 to 0. On to 2024-679-1, Groton Housing Authority American Rescue Plan Act request. This is in our packet on page 19. Counselor Rusk, would you like to take that one? Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor
Thank you,
Jones, would
Madam
you like to
Mayor.
take? I'm sorry, it's Counselor Jones was next. I'm sorry. Jones? Counselor Jones.
Item 2024-679, Groton Housing Authority American Rescue Plan Act request. Resolved that the town council approves $375,864 be appropriated from the American Rescue Plan Act Fund to the Groton Housing Authority to be utilized for sewer work at Pequot Village and to refer the item to the RTM per Rule 6.5.3. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jones, seconded by Gajewski. Any comments? Counselor McBride.
I'm just questioning, because at the bottom it says Groton Heights. Was this the one that we had to change?
Yeah, I think that is an error. It should be Groton, Grasso Gardens,
Groton Housing Authority should say.
maybe Groton Housing Authority.
It says
Mr.
funds
Burt,
for-
in our packet on page 19, in the resolution, it's the third paragraph down. It says Groton Heights.
And then Grasso Gardens. But on the top it says Pequot Village.
Mr. Burt, are you there?
Oh,
Change it to Groton Housing Authority there. Pequot Village is correct in the result.
All right.
And actually, no, you originally set for Grassl Garden, so that was correct. We got changed to Pequot. So just change Groton Heights to Groton Housing Authority.
Okay. Does that potentially make an amended motion to change in
That's not a
paragraph?
substantive. That's just a minor clerical. I don't think anything needs
You
to be
don't
done.
need
I'll
it
be
amended?
respectful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, good catch. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing no other hands, we'll take a vote on 2024-679-1 Groton Housing Authority American Rescue Plan Act request. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Counselor Bordelon, I didn't hear your vote.
I said aye.
Thank you. That passes 8-0. Up next is other business, the 2023-1043 open agenda items. Does anybody
Motion to
have
adjourn.
anything that they would like to discuss on that?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Bordelon. Second by Jones. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right, passes 8-0. All right, everybody, have a good night. Be safe. It's supposed to flood tonight.